So good morning, everyone. We are Multiple Futures, and we are a group of students from the Melbourne Design Factory and the University of St. Gallen. And together with our corporate partner, Merck. No, the clicker does not work, I'm afraid.
I'm in the way.
There we go. Okay, so together, no, it's still. We still don't have a clicker, I'm afraid. It should be on, but it's not doing anything. Could we? No, I'm sorry, but the clickers. I've had a bad history with clickers. This is the second time this has happened. No, sorry, it's really not working. All right. Anyways, so we are a group of students from the Melbourne Design Factory and the University of St. Gallen, and together with our corporate partner Merck, we've been working on developing solutions to improve the quality of life for people living with multiple sclerosis. So what is multiple sclerosis? Multiple sclerosis is a disease where your body mistakenly attacks the cells of your central nervous system. So depending on which area of your body is affected, it will change your ability to move and also affect the way you think and feel. So to better make you understand how this looks like in real life, I would like to introduce you to Emma. Emma is a patient who has been diagnosed about 2 years ago, and she's a student like us. And for her, it has meant that she's had a lot of difficulties walking. So for example, when she walks long distances, it will affect her ability to not stumble. She's also been experiencing an extreme sense of tiredness, which is called fatigue, and it's a very common MS symptom. Beyond these physical symptoms, she's also experiencing a lot of uncertainty about her future and about how she can now understand her body again. So in the last few months, to better understand how we can help patients like Emma, we've talked to about 100 patients, doctors, and researchers and realized that there are 3 key issues that we have to address to sustainably improve the quality of life for people living with MS. So 1, MS is incredibly different from patient to patient. So the experiences and symptoms that a patient might have might be completely different from what Emma is experiencing. And secondly, we've had a huge understanding of how the lack of patient data is a big roadblock to MS research and also to the development of useful services and products for patients like Emma. And finally, we observed that there's a pronounced disconnect between the people who are developing those products and services for patients and the patients themselves. So we realized that we had to redefine the relationship between patients and healthcare providers to make this development process more patient-centric. So what did we do to address these 3 issues? We developed the Multiple Futures ecosystem. The Multiple Futures ecosystem consists of 3 components: a wearable device, a Multiple Futures application for MS patients, and a web application for healthcare providers and MS researchers. So let's see how it works.
Perfect. So I'll start by explaining the multiple futures where element of the system. So the multiple futures where element, we identified a need and a necessity to collect and collate data and have a way to get data passively from people with multiple sclerosis. So this here is a sketch of a sock, and the sock has some personalized sensors inside of it, some custom-built sensors, and also some retrofitted sensors as well. But we'll get into what those sensors do and how they operate next. So if we go to the next slide. So this is an example of Emma, and Emma is walking down the street, and she would be actually being monitored by her pair of socks. So the pair of socks sit obviously below the shoes, or just you could walk around just on the socks themselves, and it has sensors such as temperature to measure exacerbation and inflammation of a person living with multiple sclerosis, also an accelerometer and a gyroscope for injury and activity. And also the last sensor that we have is the custom-made pressure sensors to analyse gait and balance. So here is a data set that's been taken out from the sock, which will be on exhibition just behind those sugar signs there. And that was the passive data collection device that's feeding into the holistic system.
And with that, we're moving on to the second component of Multiple Futures, which is Multiple Futures Empower. So this is a mobile application for MS patients, and at the heart of it is its health monitoring functionality. So this allows patients to track their health status and also their well-being, ranging from parameters such as symptoms over time and also very specific parameters such as the gait measurements that we've just seen, which you can, for example, use to assess the progression of the disease itself. So when we're talking to patients, they say that it's very helpful for them to have this additional transparency about their health status, to feel more secure about their body, and also to understand better how the disease affects them. But we also learned that for a lot of patients with MS, they're experiencing a great sensitivity to outside parameters, such as, for example, heat or noise. So some patients might, on a hot day, feel completely terrible for no apparent reason. So for example, Emma has also had this problem. However, she's really been struggling to understand how these outside parameters correlate with her well-being. So what has helped her a lot are the standardized education prompts that Multiple Futures Empower provides. So this is basically a notification that explains a known correlation between, for example, in this case, heat and the symptom or the health status of what people have experienced. So in this case, this would be the symptom fatigue. And then the system allows her to visualize this correlation based on her own personal data within the system. So as you can see here, Emma can now understand that her symptom fatigue is exacerbated by temperatures around 20 to 25 degrees and higher, and now she can adjust her lifestyle to avoid heat exposure like this and then feel less tired and better overall. Finally, we also learned that patients like Emma really want to contribute to MS research to have hope in their better future. So that is why Multiple Futures Empower does not only allow patients to share their data with researchers and healthcare providers, but also to actively engage in the product and service development process by giving feedback on new ideas and concepts that have been proposed by healthcare providers.
Thank you. So here is an example. So we've got 4 different data sets or 4 different areas of this Multiple Futures Accelerate section of the holistic system. So we'll just focus on data as a service for now. So this is relating as what we do with that data and what is the purpose of it. So one of the main things is collecting that data and keeping it all locked into our system to ensure innovation surrounding multiple sclerosis and other medical-based medical diseases stays within our system. So as the data is generated and we start to draw some conclusions, we can use this platform to use a user-centric design approach and get designs assessed and ideas and concepts presented within this platform, and that is the main purpose of this element. So this is an example of what's currently being done in Germany by a medical company. They are looking at gait and the way that people walk to identify a change in the stepping and the walking to give alerts for something such as a stumble. So we've currently been contacted and they're asking for us to give some data sets across from the SOC that we've been able to do, because previously it's every 6 to 12 months is the touch point with your neurologist in regards to walking. So this is going to be a stumble alert, and that's kind of the positives of data collection. So we also need to look at the holistic system and supporting and presenting the concepts throughout. But overall, the main goal is to improve the quality of life and the people's lives with multiple sclerosis.
And with that, let's have a short look back at the 3 key issues we've identified in the beginning and how we solve them with the Multiple Futures ecosystem. So with Multiple Futures Where and Multiple Futures Accelerate, we've taken a big step towards filling the data gap that has been such an obstacle in MS research and also in product and service development for MS patients. With Multiple Futures Empower, we've also created a platform and a data foundation to deliver personalized services to all MS patients out there. And finally, with the entire system, we've taken a step towards bringing healthcare providers and patients closer together to have more patient-centric innovation processes. So we can now engage the patient actively in the development of the healthcare of their future. Thank you very much. We're looking forward to seeing you at our booth.